Investors often avoid the whole probate niche because they don't feel like they know how to talk to these sellers. And I want to put that fear to rest today by giving you 5 tips to make this a painless conversation, and that we're not taking advantage of anyone. We are, in fact, providing a valuable service to these people. Now, number 2 is this: the conversation actually begins with the first contact. Now, whether they call you on the phone as a result of a direct mail piece that they've received, or they fill out a contact form on your website, you're going to find that this initial call with them is where this whole thing starts. It's when you talk to them on the phone. They will almost always tell you, matter-of-factly, that this property is part of an estate. So you can kind of skip over that whole estate thing that you've built up in your mind and simply say, I know this must be a hard time for you. How can I help? And from there, you just go ahead and talk about the property, just like you would with any other type of phone call or any other type of lead. So this is a factual conversation that you have with the seller where you're writing everything down on your property information form. Now, one thing you want to find out for sure is, who am I talking to? Is this the actual personal representative, the actual executor or administrator of this estate? Or is this maybe a family member, a relative that has the job of talking to people and showing this property? And it's okay either way, but you want to be clear about who you're talking to. Exactly who is this person? And it's not unusual, as I said, for someone else to be talking to you. It doesn't have to be the personal representative. It doesn't have to be the personal representative that shows you the property. But if you are not speaking to the personal representative, you want to get the name of that person and their contact information in this initial call. That's important because they are the decision maker. Now, number 3, when you go to the property, treat the seller just like you would any other person. You want to be mindful of their situation, but remember that they contacted you because they want to sell the property. They contacted you because they need your help. One tip for having easy conversations with these sellers is to look for visual clues in the home when you get to the home. So when you get to the point where you've talked to them on the phone and you've made an appointment to see the property, then you will go to the property, introduce yourself, and once you go in the property, look for visual clues. Now, here are a couple of examples. If you know that the person's dad passed away, for instance, and you see golf clubs sitting in the corner, you might want to say, oh, was your dad the golfer? It could be the same for any other sports equipment that you see sitting around. The same could be true of a mom. If the mom passed away, you might see tennis rackets. You might say, if you know they're of the age they could have played tennis still, was your mom the tennis player? Either way, if they say yes or no, it's a conversation starter. Another example would be if you see a lot of cookbooks in the house. You might say, oh, was your mom a big cook? Did she host the family dinners? Again, it's an easy way to have a conversation starter where they talk about what's going on in their life in a very generic way, but it puts them at ease, it puts you at ease, and that way you can just move on with the conversation. Now, you may see a lot of family photos that would open the door for, oh, gee, it looks like you have a big family. How lucky. You might see a library of books, which would indicate that someone in the house was a big reader. So just look around, take your time, don't be nervous, but look for visual clues as a way to begin the conversation. And number 4 would be, how do you know when it's time to move on to talking about the house? Well, I can say this: you will know when it's time to move forward and change the conversation. And you can do that by saying simply, tell me about the property. At that point, you're into the information gathering phase where you want to find out what they know about the property. Now, it may be that they don't actually know a whole lot about the property. Maybe they actually don't know when the roof was replaced. They may have an idea. They may say, oh, it was about 5 years ago. In reality, it may be more like 10 or 15 years ago, because that's not their timeline unless they were directly involved in these sorts of things. So gather information just like you would on any other property. And once you have gathered the information and you've looked at the property, you've asked your questions about what you see, then I like to close with some final questions. One would be, is there anything else I should know about the property? This may prompt them to say something like, oh, we had a sewer backup about 2 years ago, or a tree fell down and it damaged the deck, so we got a new deck. They may divulge things that they haven't thought to bring up. And a lot of times that's information that you really need about deficiencies in the property. So just ask a very open-ended question. Is there anything else I should know about the property? Or is there anything else you can tell me about the property? Now, another thing to remember is that there's almost always something else they need in addition to the price they want. So ask them, are there any special challenges or problems I should know about the property that I could help you with in addition to just buying the property? So what you're looking for is things like you're trying to find out, are there any liens on the property? Are back taxes owed? Are there any code violations? Is there some way that you could help them? And you want to find this out before you make the offer so that you could structure this in your offer. So what can I do to help you solve a problem that you may feel is a problem over here? How can I help you solve this problem? And then you want to try to find out what is the price they are hoping to get for the property. Now, this is all important, and this is kind of a package deal where you're going to decide on your offer, of course, on the repairs and updates that need to be done, but you can also structure these things into the offer. And my final thing that you're really looking to find out too is, are these folks, the heirs, are the siblings, is there some disagreement within the family about the sale of the property? Oftentimes, they'll volunteer this up right on the initial phone call. They'll say there are 4 of us that are going to inherit from the sale of this property. 3 of us are on board with selling the property. We know it needs a lot of work, and we're open to an offer. But my sister or my brother, they want full price that they're seeing on Zillow for a house that's been repaired. So by finding out these things, you know what your challenges are right up front. You can address them. You can have a family meeting there at the kitchen table where you've looked at the property, you've come up with your offer, and now you're going to say, well, here are the things that we need to consider. This house is not going to fetch the price you think, and here are the reasons. Now, it doesn't happen very often that they tell you, gee, we can't agree on anything here, but sometimes it does happen. And in that case, you need to know that. And then number 5, the final tip I have for you is has to do with cleaning out the property. Oftentimes, this is the biggest stumbling block that you'll find. So let them know that they can take everything they want out of the property and they can leave the rest, and you'll take care of removing those things. This is very often the most dreaded part of the process for them. And it's the thing that holds them back from selling the property. And this is a simple conversation that you can have with them that will help them move forward and make it easier for you to buy the property. You want to remove all the roadblocks, and in having this conversation with the seller, with these tips, it becomes an easy conversation. And once you do it a few times, it really does become an easy process. Now, if you want more information on having conversations with sellers and other things to do with probates and the probate process, I have a ton of information over on the blog, the Louisville Gals Real Estate blog. So you can start there. There's a link to the podcast there, or you can go wherever you listen to podcasts and just look up Let's Talk Real Estate Investing. So there are a million free resources over there. And also be sure to pick up my freebie, which is on the blog. It's my probate investing starter kit. You can also get it at this link, and I'll put the link in the show notes. It's probateinvestingsimplified.com/starter kit. That's an easy way if you just want to get it that way. While you're there, be sure to check out my probate investing course, Probate Investing Simplified. I just did a podcast on an event that's coming our way that's going to dump millions of homes into the market, and they've dubbed this event the Silver Tsunami. So the baby boomers are those folks born between 1946 and 1964. So there's going to be a huge number of houses that are going to come into inventory over the next decade or two from the aging baby boomers. So be sure to have a listen to that, because this is the largest single demographic of people that are going to provide opportunity for real estate investors. And there are a number of ways you can help them, both before the property gets to probate, especially if you're an agent, or afterwards when the property goes into probate. So I'll put all of these links in the show notes. And let me know if I can help you. You can send me an email at Sharon@SharonVornholt.com. So I will see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now.